that. We try to make sure that we stream these to people that can't get to our meetings. Kevin from Bank of England, so now we have wanted to round up a bank with our lenders, and so I think, yeah, there you are. You guys are here, so come on in. Let's talk about their opportunity, because I want to kind of give you an overview after, and I didn't let Mark give you his spin, so I'm going to do that, Mark. Put you on the spot for a second, too.
Jeffrey, how are you?
Well, we want to thank Jim for the opportunity to join your office. We look forward to it. I look forward to meeting every one of you and hopefully get some deals going.
Yep.
My name is Kevin Tassila with the Bank of England. This is Scott Sachs and Michael Collins. They run our operation. So a little bit about our bank. We're a boutique operation. We have in-house underwriters, processors. So we get every deal done, within the deadlines. And, the big thing is working. We know that these can be very difficult loans. So we want to do it as a team and really get them done the right way.
Yeah.
So I will pass it off to Scott Sachs.
Yeah, so really is, as Kevin touched on, it's boutique-y. Everything's done in-house, right down the street. 21-day closes happen all the time. We're looking for, your toughest deals as well. We're not the guys saying, hey, the cream of the crop. Give us the tough ones. Let us prove ourselves. We don't mind being your best number 2 lender, right? You guys are all experienced people that have lending relationships, but we're the guys here that not get it done. Mike?
Yeah. And thanks to Jim, it looks like he's put together some really good lenders for you guys, because Fairway runs a really good shop. Bank of England runs a really good shop. So you guys will have some nice options for some lending sources. The Bank of England is an FDIC insured bank, so we're able to underwrite and lend in all 50 states right here, which is sometimes comes in handy. But I think it's always the proof is in the pudding, and I look forward to the opportunity, Jim.
Yeah, I mean, so you can think of the referrals around the country as you guys send realtors. Now you've got a bank that can also do the loans around the country too. So I think what we really want to do is have the synergy right here in our office, that you don't have to go anywhere else. And they are committed to lead generation also, and that's the one thing that we are doing this year is going to really blow the socks off of our competition. I've spent 6 months developing the lead generation opportunity for us in this office, and I need these guys to make the whole thing happen. So really that's the key. That we, most of the time when I've found lead generations, it starts with the lender. If you get a pre-qualified buyer, and I can hand you guys a pre-qualified buyer from every source that we need, because the consumer wants choices. You guys want choices. These guys are to be able to have the choices, and I think that that's going to be a tremendous opportunity for us, so that nothing falls through the cracks, because that's where we're going, is that when it comes to relocation, lending, rentals, it comes to a buyer or a renter that can't buy. We even have Dave Newman to kind of figure that kind of stuff out. So we're really, really excited about rounding out those opportunities. And you guys really, this is not something that we just, picked anybody off the street. We really spent a lot of time making sure that we have a well-balanced group to participate in the opportunities for you guys. So thank you so much.
Jim.
Mark, you want to talk about what you're dealing with the opportunity that you have, or you want to kind of save that for the next meeting? I can see you saying, okay, let's save that for the next meeting. The ink is not quite dry, but they're working on a lead generation. That's also a situation that you guys aren't going to believe that is an opportunity for us. So what I really want to talk about is have Jeffrey kind of give you an idea, because how many months now have we been doing this?
Since July 5th.
Yep.
And Independence Day, y'all.
Yeah, and we've learned a lot.
We learned a lot. Over the last 6 months, we did a lot of testing, improving the lead system. What Peggy and also Kendra and Jim have been working on is Home and Do. Taking the Mojo dialer plus what Atlanta's getting ready to do, Fairway and Bank of England. We're going to integrate everything, and it's going to be a one-stop shop, where that we can allocate all of the leads inside of Home and Do. directly to the agent and the lender at the same time, and we'll upload all of the leads into Home and Do. So we'll be able to monitor it, and you guys have to make sure you follow up and follow the milestones, like if you got a showing, or it's an active contract, or it's getting ready to go to closing, that we can watch the progression of each loan so we can track everything. Thank you also, Jim, and also Peggy, for giving me the opportunity with this LEAD program, because our goal is to do 300 closed deals by the end of the year with the LEAD program alone. Bank of England already 1-for-1 with us. They got a deal already in. I know Travis in Bank of England and with Atlanta, we're working on a lot of stuff, but it's going to be a very exciting time. My goal is to do 40,000 calls this year. I did 23,000 in the last 6 months, and this time calling quality people, we are going to put inside each lead sheet a basic questionnaire saying to the homeowners, like, when do you want to buy a home? What's your annual income? What's your credit score? What's your liabilities? So each lead sheet you get from here out is going to be that little questionnaire on there, so it's better qualified. I'm on the phone 3 times a week with Fairway, 3 times a week with Bank of England. I'm going to be 3 times a week with Millennium. And we are going to have the lenders and a lot of times the realtors on the phone with us, so we can answer all of the people questions at the same time. We find that it does work quite well when the realtors can answer the questions for the people. Also, Fairway, they have a $750, what is it,
it's just a coupon off your closing costs back here if you guys want to grab one on the way out. It'll basically cover the cost of the deal.
And so I think we're going to have an exciting year. Happy New Year, everything. Happy New Year, everybody. I'll give it back to you, Jim.
So one of the things that when Jeffrey was talking about Home and Do is that when a lead is going to be dispatched from whatever lender, that means that you guys need to set up your file so that the consumer then gets a text immediately that is customized to you guys, then an email with your video that's customized to what you guys want to say. They are then going to have an application or an invitation to sign up to Home and Do. Then Kendra, we're doing Facebook ads, and we're doing a great job with Facebook ads right now. We have developed that over the last year, where Facebook used to be just a like on a call. So if you guys are getting a lot of calls from, hey, your Google search is not up to date, or your Facebook page is not, we can do ads for you. Well, we're bypassing all that because we're cutting out the middleman and getting more ads for bang for our buck. So that means that you guys are going to get more leads, and we're doing the same, same thing and better, because not only after that process, then Jeffrey takes over and he calls those people to try and qualify them. And instead of just handing it off sometimes to an appointment, he's trying to get the people here to the office, or you guys to get to their home immediately. Because we had a situation just last week where the people were driving down to meet one of our agents, stopped in an open house, and then that agent that in the open house signed them up as a buyer broker. That's how tough this market can be out there. So we're really trying to, at least come up with ideas that can short circuit the opportunity that we need to be able to go over the $100 million sales next year. That's our goal. And we're at almost 1,906 transactions. That means we're going to go to 22 or 2,300 transactions with the same amount of people. I'm not interested in adding more people. I'm interested in you guys doing more business. That's the goal that we have to do to survive in the environment of 2018. So I'm really excited about that. I think Jeffrey's really worked hard and has taught us a lot, and now we're ready to flip the burgers rather than invent the wheel. Okay, so that's where we are. Any questions you guys have? Because I've heard some, we've got a lot of lenders here, or this or that. Really, I'm here to make sure that if you guys have a question on how the procedure is, please come and see me and talk to me about it. Okay? Great. Thank you very, very much. All right. Eugene is in the office. He said, Jim, could you just kind of give an update? Basically now, this our property management has been under, it's about 6 months old. and we started with 30 properties. We're at 67 properties. Eugene is anxious to sit down with you guys to show you what he can do as far as property management is concerned. And I think that's just another cog in the wheel that we need so that when there's an opportunity that you guys can't fill that void, we have that void filled for you. So he's really anxious to do that. He's really a good quality guy. Last week we had a situation where the tenant left the house for the weekend and thought, well, I'll save some money, and turned off the heat. Guess what? I got a call, and the water's coming down through the ceiling because all the pipes, it was an older house in Aurora, all the pipes were in the ceiling. And because they turned them off, we're now redoing that. And then, oh, by the way, there was asbestos in the ceiling. So we are learning a lot of things about property management, how to deal with that. But the nice thing about that, every time we have a situation like that, we come up with a situation that we can prepare for that, because we didn't have the insurance on the homeowner. Now we have the insurance of our homeowners, so that we can take care of those things on a real instantaneous basis. Aaron was sitting here working on some stuff in the office, and he went right to that house to get the water shut off and it taken care of. So those are the kinds of things that we're trying to do to take care of your client. And the client that they got placed to another home right away, and the seller's now fixing it and going to probably sell the property. He's had enough of property management. So there comes a deal. When that happens, you guys, and you've recommended it to us, it's your deal. There is no question about it. We've heard now for years and from people that have been in this office trying to do property management that you would refer that business to that person, and what happens? Oh, they kind of like me better now, so they listed with me. That will never happen in this office, because this is a product to benefit us here. It's not. It could be a business. It could be a good business. Eugene's having a lot of fun with it, but it's not designed that anything more than a vehicle for us to be a full-service brokerage. So that's my story. All right. I mentioned Dave. Dave Newman, I'm telling you, this guy is a true entrepreneur. I know that he mentioned a few things last meeting, but I think we're working on a couple more deals. I know maybe one right now that's...
Well, we had one, unfortunately, it was with Andra, and we let go under contract and everything, but the clients, I think they just got unsure of whether or not there was light at the end of their tunnel, so they backed out, but we're working on finding more. Yeah.
So anyway, what we're saying is that if you guys have a tenant, or you have a client that says they can't buy a home, they have money to invest, and that what we're trying to do is a mousetrap that's done all over the country. This is not unique, but what it is, you guys have the opportunity to take your clients and make it work with our system, rather than going raising the cost of your client and having a deal that works for us, that's a fair deal. Because a lot of times you take it to these rental shops, and they take 20% increase, and they charge 40% more than the rent should be, that kind of thing. We don't do that. We really are fair about it, and we have the customer in mind. So I think it's a good opportunity also that we're working on. Dave, welcome again.
Jim, I just would like to say I've worked with Dave in the past. He does a great job. He's really creative. He really follows up. So I just wanted to tell you I think he does a great job.
And he could go do this with any real estate company, in the city, and he chose to be with us. So that's really commendable on you guys that he decided to do, but also the opportunity that he sees here in this office. So welcome. Beth, I'm really pleased to have Beth with us. She comes from another RE/MAX office, and her and Nate interviewed, I think, every RE/MAX office in the city, and we're really excited that they have brought their business to us also. So Nate's you know, it's just because I lived in the dark side for a while. Thank you. And got the new CLHFS designation in dual recognition. So, pretty cool. Do you want to kind of tell us what that is? Because some of us might not know what that is.
That's a luxury home marketing specialization. Registered in the top 10 in the market, and the $1 million deal is for selling over $1 million. $1 million property. So, a couple awards that are recently achieved.
That's awesome. Well, congratulations. All right. Mark, can you top any of the production stuff? But you got a great magazine, so you want to give us a couple minutes and tell us about it.
I'm going to start standing over here. I think my voice is pretty booming, and this side of the room needs a little love too. So, my name is Mark Honigsberg, and I'm with American Lifestyle Magazine. And I'm going to start off with a bit of linguistics. Anybody speak German here?
I do.
Okay. My dad is from Austria, was born in Vienna, came over here during the war. Honigsberg is, Honig means? Honig means?
Could be a lot of different ways, depends on how you pronounce it. Could be like bee or
Means honey. Honey, and Berg means mountain. So if you remember nothing else about me coming out today, remember Mr. Honey Mountain came out this week. Okay? I've been doing this for 12 years. I'm the regional manager, and I'm thrilled to be here. It's my first time that I get to present for you guys here at this office. We've been out here, I think, annually for the last couple of years, and management obviously would not invite a speaker to use up your valuable time unless they thought it was beneficial to you and to them. So when you do well, they do well. They want you to do well. And I've heard the word several times already, leads here, lead generation. Very critical, okay? And what that really boils down to is one single word called relationships. Are relationships important in your business? No brainer. Who would not like more leads that are either repeat business or referrals? Don't anybody raise their hand? Okay. We all would like more repeat business and referrals. Then you know you're not spinning your wheels. You're using your time valuably. But the word relationships is a simple one to say and really hard to implement. Relationships take years, not days, not weeks, years. And if you speak to some of your senior agents, their success depends on their good relationships that they've got out there. We want you to work smarter, not harder. But I want you to take note of a fact here, and this has been in several studies, over and over again, year after year. When you close or work with a client, do you think they like you?
Yes.
They love you. When we do surveys, 98% of them say, I would work with that agent again. They were great. When we survey people who have done a transaction 5 years or longer ago, what percentage do you think can name the realtor that they did that transaction with after 5 years? You guys are all right around it. It's about 25% remember the realtor. It means 3 out of 4 deals you did, you lost contact with. You didn't stay in touch with. They may have bought again. Their brother may have bought in town. A million things could have happened. So when management says make those touches, it's easy for them to say it. It's not very easy to consistently, year after year after year, make those calls or touches in a good, comfortable way. That's what our magazine is about. Every 8 weeks, this magazine gets delivered first class to your A list. This isn't a mass mailing piece. It's meant for your A-list people. And the magazine has been thought out and customized to make sure it's very effective. And I can tell you that from here, after doing it 12 years, I go back to the same offices, and the people who have used our magazine, and you've got several in the office, I think your son uses it, give me testimonials, give me feedback. So what makes this magazine so unique? Why would they not treat it like another piece of junk mail? The first thing is just feel it, touch it. For most of you, in a couple of meetings ago, I had a millennial tell me, no, I wouldn't bring it in, I'd throw it in the garbage. That happens. But the majority of people would take this into the house. So not only does it have to make it to the house, it has to make it in the house. And the first thing they'll see on the very top, it says, compliments of you. It has your name customized on the top. You can have your picture on the front cover if you like. But when I show you, you'll see that they'll know who it comes from, and they know what you do for a living. We want this to be perceived as a gift, guys, not as another promotional piece, not a bunch of listings stuck in the middle, as a gift. We want your image to be up here, Remax's image up here, and then when they think of getting a professional person they can trust for referrals and repeat business, you're the go-to person. So when they open up the magazine, what makes it unique? The first thing is you're going to see an article here every month, every other month, every 8 weeks, written by our company with a salutation that is customized to your client. Let me say that again. It's a salutation on top, customized to your client. So it says, Dear Dr. Smith, Dear Mr. and Mrs. Edwards, Dear Stephen. When your client sees their own name in a national magazine, that catches their eye. What catches their eye even more is your picture, Remax's logo, your contact information is all here, and it's all on a card too, which can be a recipe card, a travel card. There are hundreds of cards you'll be able to choose from. There's one in the front and one in the back. What do people do with these cards? They collect them, their recipes. They rip them out. And I'm going to tell you a true story in a second. But when they see your picture here and right across from you, Lexus, Lazy Boys, Sub-Zero, Callaway Golf Clubs, what does that say about you as an agent? Subliminally, to your client, what does that say about you? They're a big shot. They're good. They're great. They're credible. I can trust them. So I live in Greenwood Village. I don't live far from here, guys. I live in Greenwood Village, and I went to my daughter's orthodontist a few months ago, and what magazine is sitting out on the counter? It's with People and Sports Illustrated and everything else. So I smiled seeing my own company's magazine there. And I looked at it, and I saw which realtor had sent it to their kid's dentist or orthodontist, and both recipe cards were ripped out and gone already. Somebody was walking around with that, and maybe the realtor didn't even know, but their picture was down in the house, and so forth. Several ways, and I'm going to respect your time, so I'll wrap this up. Several creative ways you can use this stuff. If you guys do open houses, and there's somebody you really click with at that open house, you think you can work with them. Should you just let them walk? Should you just give them your business card? Or would I make a more lasting impression by saying, thanks for coming in? Now they've got this in their hand when they walk away. You guys ever get beat up on a listing? People try to play you against 3 other agents on a listing? Beat you up on commission for your listing? What if I bring into the listing this magazine and show them the latest house that I just sold in Greenwood Village for $1.5 million, and it's featured on the back of my magazine? And this is what I do for all my clients. I will feature the house on the back of the magazine for you, and usually by the time the next issue comes in 8 weeks, that house is sold, and you can put in another. One last idea. you can co-op this magazine. Have any of you been approached by a landscaper, interior designer, CFP, insurance guy who does your auto at Allstate, etc.? This cover is yours. So you can have them featured on the inside or back cover, and I can split this up to 4 ways. So ladies, whoever does your hair and nails, insures your car, and guess what? They can help offset your cost of this magazine too. So if I was offering you a free magazine, every 8 weeks, first class, to the door of your best clients, 6 touches a year with no effort. Does that make sense? So, what we do, and you've heard this, we only get the opportunity once a year to come out here, and this is a sign-up form that I'm going to stay till after the meeting to help anyone who's interested or has some additional questions talk about getting started. We give some very, very deep discounts when we come out once a year, because I have the opportunity to talk to 30, 40, 50 of you instead of one-on-one, which was inefficient. To close up, I want to tell you how sure I am about this magazine and the results you'll get. When you send the first issue, it's called the trial issue. Let me be clear, it's not free, but it's called the trial issue. There's no commitment. I want you to have 8 weeks to see what kind of response you get from your clients when they receive this. And here's the kind of response you'll get on average. Out of 50 magazines that were sent, 15 of those people will call you directly to thank you for the magazine. Can you all handle an incoming call from somebody on your A-list? Is that a good touch? I recommend and I strongly urge you to pick up the phone for the other 30, 35 people who have not called you after about a week and just follow up with them and say, I'm trying something new. Did you get your issue of American Lifestyle? Every time you're going to hear the same thing. I got the magazine. I love it. Thank you so much. I've been meaning to call you. I'm really busy. So on, so on, so on. Positive touch again. They know who you are, what you do for a living. That's what we want to reinforce. After the trial issue, you've got 8 weeks to decide, do you actually want to sign up with us? And that would be a commitment of 9 more issues or 18 months. But only if you feel it's something that can really work well. And now's the time you're looking at your budget and you're looking at next year, what you're going to do for yourself. Everything management is doing for you is great, over the roof, the best. But you've got to still invest in yourselves and help churn that wheel. So any other questions for me real quick? Okay. I was going to do that one-on-one with you, but let me do that for you. Just to mail this magazine, you can imagine, keeps going up, $1.58. And what I'm going to tell you is we're going to grandfather the price for you of what we talk about today. So you're good for the next 2 years. It's $190 every 8 weeks, every other month. That includes postage, includes handling. It's turnkey for 50 magazines. 50. Now, if you want to do 150 or 200, you can do it. It breaks down to $3.79 per magazine. So if you did 51, you'd have $193.79. Okay? When you figure out the math, and I want you to, I'm glad you asked that, because you guys, besides being realtors, are business people. You're entrepreneurs. And you've got to make your dollars work for you in smart investments. I don't know if you can answer this for me or will answer this. Do you know the average commission in the office?
Oh, yeah, I do, but I'm not going to disclose that right now because that would be a real problem.
Okay. Let's just guess. Because I know it's thousands. It's not hundreds of dollars, it's thousands of dollars. Okay? If the magazine got you one referral, one repeat piece of business, one listing, that would pay for years and years and years of the magazine when you do the math. Okay? So, I'll be here after, and any other questions?
One other question, is it an e-brochure also?
That's a great question, and yes, it is available in a digital format as well. And the digital format, we will send up to 1,000 every 8 weeks in the digital form. It is an extra $37 per month, okay, to add the digital. And you can't do the digital without the hard copy mag. But guys, be open-minded. This thing really works. Try it for the trial period, 1 month, and then you guys make a decision.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Appreciate it. All right. When you get sold something that's really close and dear to your heart, but now when you talk about taxes, how much closer is that? And you know, really, Chuck came to me the beginning, right last year when the Congress changed the taxes, and he built an online analysis for your clients. It's just awesome. And but I really want him to kind of tell you, because there's a lot of questions, there's a lot of misinformation that's going on, there's a lot of talk about certain things. So you're going to get from Chuck, right from the horse's mouth, what the new tax law and how it impacts us in real estate.
Can I talk from here then?
You would do whatever you'd like.
So,
Well, no, it'd be better to come up here, I guess. Well, I get overridden a lot in this office. So
We just want to compare the pictures. There's people at home watch what?
yeah.
So my online model, I built this analysis to show how much people typically would save. So I compare the person's tax return to how it would look next year in 2018 if everything stayed the same. And so the impact page is, I think the last page you got, is a $82,000 adjusted gross income tax return. And they have a child under 17 years old. So the child tax credit is increased to $2,000. The bottom line impact of it is that this tax return next in 2018 would save $1,918. That's a married couple with a child under 17 with an adjusted gross income of $82,000.
Living in Colorado.
No. Anywhere. That's federal. That's an IRS tax return. So the big things that are changing is the standard deduction. Instead of $12,000 for individuals, that's going up to 24. Married couples is going up to 24 from $6,000 currently is the standard deduction. Some of the other big changes are state and local taxes are going to be capped at, local real estate taxes, that is, are going to be capped at $10,000. So that's going to be a big hit for a lot of folks, but it's offset because of the higher standard deduction. So and then another thing is that the tax rates change, and I've shown you the tax brackets on the second page. So that tax return you saw on the page 3, they're married, filing joint, and you can see the tax is $62.96 minus then credits. So the whole it's a loaded tax reform package, and it's really designed to bring, I mean, so much. It's corporate and individual. All of the tax code has changed, and it's really designed to bring back $4 trillion from offshore, and our tax rate, our corporate tax rate is reduced to 21%, and there's a repatriation 1-year opportunity for all these corporations to get back to America with the money that's parked offshore right now. So $4 trillion coming to America is potentially a really big thing for the economy. As far as realtors go, so the mortgage interest limits the limits right now are $1 million, mortgages up to $1 million, and then there's another $100,000. So it's up to really 1.1 million. That for anything that's bought after December 16th, the maximum mortgage amount will be reduced to $750,000. And then another thing for the real interesting thing for tax consideration for our own businesses is there's a new 20% qualified business tax credit that has got a lot of it's really complicated about and it's unknown what it really is. It's like based on your investment in the business and the salaries that are paid, and it's clear as mud. It's like nobody really knows what this 20% business tax credit is right now. And then another thing is that depreciation rules have all been rearranged. I mean, the whole thing is like rearranging furniture, and hopefully it comes out better for you. You look, but so take it from the top. Next year in 2018, alimony is not going to be deductible on tax returns. Moving expenses are not going to be deductible on tax returns. Capital gains stayed.
Right. I want to make sure everybody knows that because it's a question
Yeah.
I get a lot. Is that capital gains have not changed. They were talking about raising it from 2 out of the last 5 to 4 of the last 5, but now it's just the same. So we really dodged that bullet.
Hey, Chuck?
Yep.
Did I hear that they took away the deduction for HELOCs?
Yeah. Yep, all together.
So mortgage now is not tax deductible.
Yeah, so it's going to be interesting to see on the interest statement if it says HELOC, then it's going to say not deductible, I'm sure. Another thing that got another thing that got tightened down in tax reform is like-kind exchanges. Bitcoin was sort of being used for 1031 exchanges, I mean, as an investment. And so the tax reform made it clear that it's just for real estate that is not held for resale. So there's some provisos about 1031 exchanges now, too.
Comment about you already had it in place in 2017, you're kind of grandfathered in, right?
I haven't seen that.
That's what I was told by a CPA.
I have heard that too.
Anything after
January 10th is not deductible.
Okay.
Anything what?
After January 10th.
After January 10th.
Yeah, so if you already have a HELOC in place, you can deduct that into.
Or you could sell your house and then take that money and then get another mortgage and then the opportunity. So we could get some people to, yeah, we can get some people to move now. They have big HELOCs. So maybe you can go after people for second mortgages. Hey, it's time to sell.
Chuck, is second home mortgage interest deductible?
Your second home?
Second home.
Yes.
It is.
Yeah, and so are the real estate taxes. But you pay capital. You would pay on the profit when you sell it. Yeah.
It's not deferred.
It's not, exempted from, yeah. So
And the mileage changed also.
it always changes. Oh, one big thing is unreimbursed employee business expenses, not deductible anymore. Like if you're an employee and you have an office in the home, or if you drive 20,000 miles for your job, typically that goes on your Schedule A, or it has gone, and that's being taken away in 2018. But what was your question? Mileage for it's adjusted by index. It's indexed by the cost of gas and stuff, the cost of mileage, but it's still allowed.
It's still 40 cents a mile.
It's 58 something. It's more like 57, 58.
Was
I don't know what it is for 2017.
The IRS does if you ever get audited, and I don't know who got audited that I could speak to this, but when I got audited, they wanted to see your mileage book. That's something that you guys should really, there's some apps out there that are good.
Yeah, there's some cool apps.
And I mean, it took me at least a week to build that book.
There's a workaround for that too.
I will tell you, if you have
I'll tell you.
control of the book, they look at your credit card statements and they'll say, oh, well, you went to the nail polish, nail salon here, and then you went here, and so they match up your logbook to your credit card statements.
There's sort of a workaround. If you get audited, you could go back and then create a legitimate book for 3 or 4 months, and then go back to IRS in 4 months and say, here's my actual log.
Is there not another change that has to do with entertaining clients and production on that another one?
You know, you might have
Percent that you
I think that's right. I forgot to put that on. I think that's right. Entertainment expenses. Gone. Oh, there's some other things that stadium seats and boxes.
Any longer an 85% write-off for box.
That's, I mean,
you know what? You saw the president as far as the not standing in, you know, national anthem. I mean, that has consequences.
as far as gifts go, I just consider that advertising. Yeah. Oh, it's your business. I don't understand how IRS can say, I'm going on the record here.
Yeah.
I don't understand how IRS can say $50 is the limit for, you know, that's the real estate commission talking. I mean, it's your business. You're running your business.
Damn straight.
Yeah. What? Yeah, so that's another thing that I wanted to talk about.
You guys.
That's a big thing right there, is your form of business ownership. Whether this 20%, I mean, it is something to get figured out, but IRS is, I mean, do a good job on making it clear what this 20% qualified business tax credit is. And it matters about how much you make and then what form of business ownership you got, whether you have a S corporation, a C corporation, partnership, or a Schedule C. It's big stuff to look into right now, because think about, like, if you're netting $200,000, 20% of that would be 40, and that would come right off of your adjustable gross income. At that rate, you're in what tax bracket? 24%. So 40 times 2 is 80. Fast.
I know 4% because of commissions and stuff.
That's hilarious.
Higher than 2, 3, 4%. I can't figure it out.
So it's pretty cool. I'm about to go. I have a partner. I created this Excel spreadsheet analysis, but then I took it to another level with a Excel expert, and we're making a comparison where somebody could enter their numbers from their tax return and then see how that tax return is affected. And so we're going with that, and we're going to charge like $10 for somebody to do it.
What's the risk if you're wrong? Is it worth
You know, it's an estimate, Jim.
I've been shooting for estimates my whole life, so okay.
I mean, there's a whole lot of variables, but $10. I mean, you know what? I mean, it really would. I mean, what we are doing is designing it to be sort of like a virtual handshake, where you could. So there's this thing. It's called paid memberships. So you would sign up with us, and then you could send it to your customers. And so it's an excuse for you to touch base with them and say, look, you're going to save money on your taxes next year. Do your taxes, plug in your numbers here, and then we'll charge your credit card $10 when your client does it. And, you know, or whatever it's going to be, something like that. But that's what we are really designing.
Yeah, well, that's cool.
Chuck, another question. What about passive real estate income?
That didn't change. I mean, so you're talking about rental income. That has to do with the 20%. That has a lot to do with the 20% qualified business tax credit. That's front and center on that. Depending on how you own the rentals. Yeah. So I mean, so passive rent. You're talking about rental income.
Right.
Yeah. So yes, the form of ownership matters, and how you pay yourself matters, and you need to talk to your tax professional. There's some more on the 20% business tax credit.
But things that have been repealed is the Obama. I mean, so what about 3.8% tax on rentals?
That's still there.
That's still there. They haven't changed.
No. The Obamacare, the individual mandate, is repealed in 2019.
But not the other tax.
Not the, yeah, no.
Any other questions you got? This is really kind of.
Yeah. What's the head of household tax payer
That's somebody who's single and has a child.
and the child?
Dependent. It could be their parent.
Wants to get married again.
Thank you, Chuck. That's very interesting. Constantly change. If you don't understand that, you won't stay in the business very long. So, thinking is, who likes the new property seller's disclosure form? So one yes and several no. So basically, the question is yes on everything. You don't have to answer anything in the negative. So are we saying there, and I'd like my teacher to tell me this, but you just say yes to everything. So the whole thing could be be blank, and that's your disclosure.
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about that.
Well, first of all, because everybody's worried about the question of do I say yes for radon? It's the if you know of a problem, and you say yes, I have that problem. That's going to be, all of those are going to be blank. All of those are going to be blank for those kinds of problems. No created a double negative. It was always a problem, and the commission was really concerned about people who said, yes, I have it. Is it no, it's not working, or no, it is working? They were really confused. The commission really tried to clean it up with a simple thing. And it is, but it's just going to say, you know of a problem.
So basically, if it's an yes, everything else don't check it. That's the easy part. But you also don't not check something if you know a material defect, because that's where the hot button for the commission is that they really frown on not disclosing something that they know. So that hasn't changed. That's just
What really changed though is, does the house have a washer dryer? You don't check yes for that unless there's a problem with the washer dryer.
I think that should have left in NA.
yeah.
That was the part that, and I think the property going away to kind
part of the contract, it's a disclosure. So that's what you have to understand, that the Real Estate Commission requires it, but it's not part of the contract. So don't think that something they said in the history where they said that something was included and now it's not in the contract. We're going to default to the contract, you guys. That's kind of the whole thing that you really got to know is that the disclosure is an acknowledgement and that's it. Okay, keep it at that. Tell your people that it's an acknowledgement and tell them to answer it truthfully, because a material defect will come to bite them, because I get the most of the trouble that I get into is that issue that we have to deal with. Okay. Any other questions on that? Yes.
I want to make a clarification on what I said about gifts.
This guy's going to be worried about his whole day.
I'm going to be responsible for that answer.
Yeah.
The answer is, I mean, in income tax, pigs get fat and hogs get slaughtered. I mean, be reasonable about, you know, all that stuff and works out.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's the key, is that if you want to get to zero somehow, then you're going to figure out how to get the best way to do your taxes. Okay? So thank you for that clarification. And it's also being recorded, yes. Chuck knew that. He said as soon as I came up here, he started sweating. So we got a couple minutes. Any other discussions other than the seller? Yes, you have a question on this? Great. Yes.
I listed a home. He bought it in October. He then decided to move back to California and buy a business. So he wants to sell the home. And they're Vietnamese, so it's got a little bit of a language barrier. And I sent him all the disclosures, and he has an attorney in California who said, do not fill that out, because he's never lived in the property.
Okay.
So I said, that's fine, you're the seller, that's your choice. And I said, go ahead and sign it, but leave it blank. And then I'll explain to a buyer's agent, that you've not lived in the property. He signed it before I could get all my
Okay.
But is that going to be an issue?
Well, I mean, no, I don't think so, because it is just an acknowledgement, and that's the way I look at it. So, but, you know, a lot of times we had the older days and we could cross through it and say, I never lived in the property. I would rather have a disclosure that you never lived in the property, that you leave it blank, because then they're saying it's all in the negative, rather than anything in the affirmative, which could be a problem down the road.
But if he's signing it and not saying anything, he's not signing it and not acknowledging it. He's disclosing.
Yeah.
There's no issues.
Right. That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. I mean, that's why I said I would rather say never lived in the property. But by signing it is an acknowledge that he answered everything a no.
Right.
That's the way I would look at it. So as attorney, I don't want to go over his attorney's head, but that could be a problem for me.
That's what I'm saying, yeah.
So what do you think?
I would just say, destroy that one, or leave it out, saying, he's never lived in the property, there's no disclosure.
Okay. And that's what I was going to do.
There's always been a positive requirement that sellers disclose anything that's wrong with that property.
No matter what.
That's always been the case. And that's all this form is asking, is check off, yes, I know, there's a problem.
Right.
If there's no problem, or if he's not aware of one, he just signed out not aware of one.
Right. I think he should read it, have his attorney read it, because there might be one that he wants to answer yes, that will alleviate the problem, that's all. But you know what? I'm okay, you guys, if you just cross it out, never lived in the property, and if they say no, they don't want to sign it, then you just write me an email in the file or an email from them. They are not willing to do it, and that's the end of the discussion.
Well, it's in the listing agreement that the seller either does or does not agree.
Right.
So you should be
Sure.
covered by that.
Yeah. You know, the thing is, how many times that I have sat down with one of you guys and you don't even know the clause in the contract. So all I would say is that another little thing in there is go ahead and get an email, because what's the risk of that? You know what I'm saying? I know you have. I'm just trying to say that I would just take it the extra mile, and an email is a simple thing. Hey, send me an email just clarifying that. And now it goes in your file, and you've created a non-issue that could be an issue because of the litigious society that we live in. That's what I'm worried about, not because you're doing something wrong. Yes?
I recently had an inspection where the inspector, whom I've used since the 80s, brought up to this buyer that he recently, well, he's been encountering this with another broker that's used him for a long time. And he recommends having a meth test done on every house. Now, think about this for a moment, especially in the lower or lower price ranges. A lot of those have been rentals, and you have no idea. If you know your client well, you probably know that they got, perhaps it's not used meth, but if it's been a rental, you don't know. Number one. Number two, when we called the meth testing company, we asked them about they had even $1 million plus homes come back with meth. So you might want to give some thought to this. Certainly not telling you what to do, but looking out for your client's best interest. It would really, if you've seen a house that's been tested with meth and it's gutted, meaning the sheetrock's out, the insulation's out, the furnace is gone, the ductwork's gone, it's just a shell. Just know that your client could be in a bad situation, and if you didn't bring it up, I don't know what the situation is. There $500 or 500 and something? So, and it takes 2 or 3 days results. So, yes.
Isn't that per plug?
You know, I do not know enough about this, but I think it might be a good idea. I mentioned this to Peggy before. She may be already investigating it. But we might want to have somebody come in and talk to us.
I have a friend going through this, and she has, it's been a nightmare, and they pay $400 for a plug, or it's a, and it's, she's got it down to, frame. She had to just wipe out everything, and the state has been there 2 times. I mean, she's up to $180,000 on remediating this now.
Guys want to fix it with it, and then found meth. Or I don't know how it was, whether he found it or the buyer did or whatever. Well, now look at you, what you're stuck with there. So just be aware of it.
And it's not an insurance claim. It's a catastrophic loss for the owner, is what I understand. I mean, you fix it, here it is. It's not an insurance claim.
I'm not very smart on drugs or drinking.
Yeah.
Especially after one drink.
Tequila's different. Does it permeate into everything? Is that what it is? Does it stay there forever?
So I have a question. Do we check the land if the house is great?
So, yeah, I think that's a great idea, because I lie awake things that keep me up at night, and that should keep you up at night, and you have that happen. One other thing that you guys should be aware of is bed bugs. There's been a major increase in bed bugs, and especially in condominium projects, that now they travel from different, house to house. Mike Burns' wife, they have a rental, and it's a condo, and they had it completely debugged. And then they had a new renter come in, and guess what? She went into the house, and she saw the bed bugs going up the wall. It was like, it ruined my whole dinner in Hawaii. I don't want to hear about this stuff. But, those are the things that we really got to talk about here in this environment so that we know about what's going on. So if you guys hear of these kinds of things, that's great. Take it to Peggy, let Peggy analyze it. We'll get somebody in a meeting so we can really discuss it. Yes? There's a company, but it's a very expensive deal. So don't buy any used mattresses, okay? That's just a given, okay? Don't buy any used mattresses. Yeah, I know. Yeah, got me at the time, right. I was just going to take that one out that I saw down the street that was in front of the house. Hey, in where I live, in my part of the country, everything is done that way. You have a tractor, you sell it, you put it right out in front. And then you put the couches and everything, and hey, and then a lot of times they're gone. You know, they just have free and they're gone. So, just don't buy a used mattress. Yes.
Well, so I had a property with bed bugs, and then we had it, cleaned up.
Yeah.
And I asked the bed bug guy, I said, how do you know for sure if they're gone? He said, you really don't know without a host there. So I got a host. Yeah, a host of warm water, because they can be gone, but they retreat
into the walls. That's exactly
right.
right.
But what I did is I got a buddy of mine for $50 in a case of tears. Spend the night.
I have a disclosure for that, or because it's for that. You know, he slept there for 2 days, no lights. You know, this is kind of one of the They need a host. Yeah, maybe you can use a dog or something. I don't know. For your best friend or. Anyway, there's lots of time. We're just about done. But I tell you guys all the time. I said, when I'm showing people around the office, I say 20 years ago I knew an attorney. Now one's right next to me.
Yeah.
So that's just the life we live in, and we got to deal with it. So thanks very much for coming today. Really look.